Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
Quarantine's on the loose. Trapped in my house. Day 8 of no sports.
Day 8. Mind control is beginning to work.
Reform.
I can now see the future. What's that? I'm going to win 10 straight fantasy championships?
10 straight. I would quit. If that was the case. It is, wow. It is Thursday, March 19th. Everything's kind of like modge-podging together. I've been extremely exhausted the last 2 weeks, and I'm like, why am I so tired? And I think I decided today that I'm just tired of everything being about coronavirus at this point.
Yeah.
And we're stuck in this universe for another 4 more months, so we're good. I haven't even started. My name is Morgan Colby. I got Rick Lemon on phone call.
Yep, in my bunker.
As we probably will be for the foreseeable future. Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. If you are currently taking a break from coronavirus and following all of the sports news, this has been one of probably the busiest free agencies I've experienced in the last couple of years. Lots of stuff happening, a lot of big names being moved, cut, released, traded, whatever you want to call it. So this is part 2 of Free Agent Frenzy. We will go over a little bit of news, but outside of that, we'll talk specifically about trades and free agents. Before we do that, check out our website at thefantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the FFChamps on Twitter, at thefantasychampions on Instagram. Subscribe wherever you listen, leave a review, and share this podcast with your friends. We will try to keep it brief today, even though you probably need something to listen to for hours on end. So we're going to start with these are extensions, franchise tags, releases, and rumors. I added rumors in there.
Ooh.
Some news, updates. So we'll just go through these one at a time. There wasn't a whole ton of movement in terms of signings in the last 2 days, I believe. Melvin Gordon still doesn't have a team, so if we find that out on the show, we will bring that to you. The rumors are floating around that the market is not there for Melvin Gordon. He probably should have just played the entire season and signed a contract with the Chargers. But anyway, so there's no on the Melvin Gordon front. There's no Melvin Gordon news. So let's start with the first one. Jonathan Jones of CBS Sports reports that the expectation is Cam Newton will be released in the coming days. The Chargers were rumored to be in on him, and the Redskins were rumored to be in on him. The Patriots were rumored to be in on him, and that was it. And I don't think that anybody wants to give up what the Panthers are asking for, so it is not unreasonable that Cam Newton gets cut. If he does, and he chooses where he goes, where do you think he wants to go, and who do you think goes after him?
I really, this isn't just me being a Patriots homer, but I think the Patriots would be a good spot for him. I think the Chargers would make sense too, but I've heard they're going with Tyrod Taylor. The Redskins, that's odd to me. I feel like they're going to run with Dwayne Haskins.
They have been connected to, I believe we talk about it. I can just throw it in right now if I didn't put it in the news already. But they're right now connected to Jameis Winston as well, the Redskins.
So that, again, doesn't really make a lot of sense. Why are you going to spend
cough.
eighth? Where was Haskins drafted? High first round?
A
high first round pick
top
on
15,
a quarterback.
Top 15.
Give him less than half a season with no offensive line and one receiver. Yeah. And then be like, okay, we're going to go sign Jameis Winston or get Cam Newton. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Right. Really does.
I wish the Bears would have made a run at Cam Newton instead of
we'll get
Nick
to
Foles,
that.
But,
we'll get to Nick Foles later, but I I think Cam Newton probably would have been the smarter option, but I don't really think that Cam Newton fits what Nagy likes to do, which is suck. So,
but they have they do run the read option.
Yeah, they do. I just don't. I don't understand what Matt Nagy's doing. But New England's not a bad spot. Washington, like you said, it makes sense because Ron Rivera is there.
Sure,
but I don't know. Did they see eye to eye when he was there? I don't remember. I don't know if they had
I don't think there was
conflict.
ever any problems between those two.
But it would make sense on the front of if you need a quarterback, because he's 30 years old, so he's probably going to be done in 5, maybe 6 years. But that's too long on Haskins.
Yeah, no. If they're getting Cam Newton or Jameis Winston, that just means that they don't believe in Haskins at all.
Right. So I think I'm surprised that Miami, with the amount of good moves that they're making right now, they're signing offensive linemen, they're bolstering their defense, they've brought in some offensive with the moves that they're making, they're kind of sneakily becoming a decent football team. I'm surprised that they wouldn't make a push for a Winston or make a push for a Cam Newton to try to improve their team. But fantasy-wise, I feel like the best location for Cam Newton is probably the Patriots.
Yep.
Would be my best guess.
I would 100% agree with that.
Every option on the Pats would probably just cease to exist because that's usually what happens with Cam Newton, unless your name is the running back, Sony Michel. Anyway, so Cam Newton, if he does get released, he'll have the choice of 3 teams. Jane Slater reports that the Cowboys have interest in free agent Emmanuel Sanders. I like this landing spot. I don't think it would be fantasy-wise something that would make you be like, oh, I love this for Emmanuel Sanders and get you excited about. People will draft him, but he just won't be good.
No. Sanders to the Cowboys makes sense football-wise, but fantasy-wise, he's not going to get a lot of action.
So I would say just completely stay away from Sanders if he does end up getting picked up by the Cowboys. I would watch out for if Brady was here, I would have in New England. I would have probably said Emmanuel Sanders to New England because Bill has had an Emmanuel Sanders in his shorts for a couple years now. So that I don't expect to happen. So Cowboys is a good spot for him. If he has any chance of being a good fantasy option, Cowboys are probably the best spot. Randall Cobb was decent last year. He did have some good fantasy weeks. So if you need Emmanuel Sanders and they're facing a good team and Amari Cooper's hurt or something like that, he can be a decent play, but I just think he's undraftable.
He'll play the same role as Randall Cobb did last year, which is not somebody you want in your fantasy lineup.
Right. Tom Pelissero reports that Tom Brady wants to play with Antonio Brown. Ian Rappaport considers the Bucs signing Antonio Brown highly unlikely. I'm getting kind of peeved, which is I think it's kind of funny. The other day I was talking to you about the.
Yeah.
I said this is a message. Tom Brady left New England, more specifically probably because the Patriots made him take so many pay cuts and he was always the loser in negotiations. So he finally wanted to be the winner. The Patriots weren't letting that happen. So he went to the Bucs where they gave him everything. And now he's like, you know what? I want Antonio Brown too. Not just Mike Evans, not just Chris Godwin, but I want Antonio Brown. And then the Bucs are like, no. It's like, that's not how the NFL works, Brady. I know you've been in the darkness for 20 years, but that's not how the NFL works. When did he become such a big
LeBron.
baby? Yeah, LeBron. I'm like, dude, who are you?
Wow. Is this just the Patriots fan in you that's just
maybe? I don't know. I love Brady. It's weird because he never in New England, he never really acted like this. It was always I'm taking pay cuts for the team. I want to win. I'm focused on winning. Yeah, but you do that for 20
years. That's.
Yeah, I guess.
He still.
But what changed?
He still wants to win, or else he would have signed. I think in LA or Miami.
But
I think Tampa was the best spot for him for winning wise.
I put this on here because if Antonio Brown does go to, I keep wanting to say, watch so much sports, and I talked about the Milwaukee Bucks so much in basketball that every time I say Bucks, I want to say Milwaukee Bucks instead of Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But
I know, because nobody says the Bucks as in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah. So anyway, Antonio Brown to the Bucks would just be a horrible, horrible, horrible situation.
I wouldn't like it either. And okay, go ahead.
I was going to say unless they get rid of Mike Evans,
which would be extremely dumb. Antonio Brown to the Buccaneers doesn't make sense. He also has a history of Bruce Arians, and it's not a good one. So it's not going to happen at all.
Interesting.
I don't know why.
Bruce Arians?
Yeah, that is what I heard. I don't know. I don't know, like if Bruce Arians was like ever part of the Steelers organization, or I don't know. Right. But yeah, no, I think that'd be. I think that'd be pretty dumb, and it would spill disaster. Like it would absolutely. Feel like a disaster.
I think I think that like Brown was really good.
He's also getting old.
5 minutes.
Like, people don't realize. Like,
yeah,
he's
that's
old.
true. And he hasn't played for a whole season. If Mike Evans was gone, I would be very much okay with Antonio Brown. Because I think Brady really does like him, and guys he likes get the ball. You know what I mean? Like, as much as we talk about the slot receiver getting all the looks, I think Brady went to Julian Edelman so much because he loved Julian Edelman. So there is a reasonable possibility that he just really has a connection with Mike Evans, and it works. Brady's one of those quarterbacks. I guess all quarterbacks are kind of like this, but Brady is specifically like I don't know what it is with him, but there are certain players he just connects with and certain players he doesn't. When Randy Moss came to the New England Patriots, he was elite. He was great. Tom Brady loved throwing to him. The New England Patriots tried the Chad Ochocinco method for a couple years. Same player, same age when they acquired him, didn't work. So there's, he has players that he likes, he has players that he doesn't like, and until we get into next year, we're not really going to know who Brady likes and doesn't like. But if Antonio Brown does sign with the Bucks, it is highly likely that he is going to get a lot of looks by Tom Brady because that would be his Julian Edelman. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's his guy, yeah.
So, but they would have to get rid of Mike Evans or Chris Godwin or somebody else in order to make that work because the 3 wide receiver set thing isn't going to be something that they're going to run all the time. It would bury if Mike Evans is a guy that goes into the number 2 wide receiver position, it would bury Chris Godwin on the roster. You know what I mean? Like the amount of opportunities that he gets would significantly decrease if they didn't get rid of Mike Evans. So it would become a fantasy disaster if that happened.
Yeah, it wouldn't work.
So we're gonna have to keep an eye on that. As Ian Rappaport said, he's very connected, second best football source out there. So the fact that he's saying it's highly unlikely, it's highly unlikely. Ian Rappaport also reported that the Broncos are gonna release Joe Flacco because he failed his physical.
Oh boy!
So there's that.
Is he a backup somewhere, or you think he's done playing football?
He wants to play, but I could see a team like Miami, who I think is looking to draft a quarterback this year, go after a guy like that. I know they have Fitzmagic, but a team who's going to draft a young quarterback that wants to train him up, maybe you could see. I doubt it, but Cincinnati, where Joe Burrow would start, but Joe Flacco would sit behind him.
They might just leave Andy Dalton there.
They might just leave. Andy doesn't want to be there, by the way.
No,
he's going to be traded to New England because frick us. But, so I don't know where Joe Flacco is. Anywhere he goes, he's completely irrelevant fantasy wise. So. I just want to throw the fact that he failed his physical in there. This was massive news. So there's 2 points. I'm gonna get to the massive news last.
Okay.
I do want to say, just to ruin everyone's hopes and dreams on the Devin Singletary front, the Bills are interested in Melvin Gordon. Do you know how mad this makes me?
That makes no sense.
It's a great landing spot for Melvin Gordon. But it destroys Devin Singletary. No, because they're not going to split snaps with Melvin Gordon. At least I don't think they would. I think Singletary would just become a regular third down back.
Yuck. That's so disgusting. I really hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, me too.
I'd hate all New York teams for the rest of my life. The Jets can't do anything right. The Bills can't do anything right.
Yeah.
The Giants hate them because they beat the Patriots.
That would be just so disgusting. I would honestly get freaking pissed because I love Singletary.
They can use that money for positions like that they need.
No, they don't have to. I think it's at the right cost, but there was something that floated around the internet last week after they got Stefan Diggs that said, or not last week, this week, a couple days ago. Oh my God, it feels like a week. But where they said that Melvin Gordon going to the Bills would be this crazy thing, and I'm like, no, I mean, like, Devin Singletary, give him opportunity, and he's basically Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It just frustrates me when you have really talented guys and you do stupid crap like this, and they're going to overpay him,
Yep.
and they're going to pull a Bills move.
I hope he doesn't go to the Bills.
Not going to lie. I'm a Bills fan. If the Patriots blow next year, go Bills.
Wow.
You don't want to join Bills Mafia? You don't?
I mean, Bills Mafia does seem fun.
Somebody's got to take Brady down.
Just like root for Josh Allen to do it.
Yeah. No, so the big news is the Rams released running back Todd Gurley with a post-June 1st designation. So Gurley is a free agent. Gurley is on the market. Gurley was overpaid. Gurley just got all his guaranteed money all at once.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing the Falcons.
Okay. That could be fine. I mean, to me, he'd probably be the same as Devontae Freeman, like other than staying healthy.
I just don't know
production-wise.
I don't know if it was. We'll find out this year because he's not a Ram anymore. Because Gurley got a lot of work in that system, and that whole system really revolved around Todd Gurley. But last year, their offense was so bad; it was very bad. And with Todd Gurley now being out of it, if he goes to a team that actually has a good offense, like Atlanta, even though they completely blow on every other area of their game, they've got a decent offense. So
they do.
And they've had an RB1 in the past. The problem is, and I talked about this last year, their offensive coordinator kills running backs, murders them,
right,
makes them look awful. But he loves to throw it to them, and Gurley's good at doing that. He's good at catching the ball and running down the field. So, fantasy-wise, I think Atlanta's not a bad option. The other team that's rumored to be interested is Miami. They're also interested in Melvin Gordon. So, whichever one they end up with, I'm not super excited about Miami as a landing spot for either one of those guys.
I am feeling more confident if one of these guys ends up in Miami, just because of what they've done this offseason.
Right.
And if they draft like Tua, then they might try to run the ball a lot too. Mm-hmm. But it's still, I think I would prefer Atlanta, especially for Gurley.
Yeah. Now, if Gurley goes to Atlanta, what round do you take him in?
Probably third.
I would say fourth or fifth. And I love Gurley.
Well, I think that'd be smarter. I think he'll probably go in the third.
Yeah.
Just because of the name.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think the fourth and fifth would actually probably be smarter.
Right. Man, I love Todd Gurley. You know who's going to draft him?
You.
Of course. Of course. No matter what. Last time Todd Gurley was a third-round pick, number one running back in fantasy. And I drafted him.
You think that's going to happen again?
No.
Good luck.
He's not going to get. Well, I mean, in the Falcons system, they do.
No, he's not going to be the number one running back.
They do. No, he's not going to be the number one back in fantasy. I'm just going to say they do. I was going to say it depends on his opportunity. I can't get by the 3.7 yards a carry, and I don't know if that was because the Rams just sucked, or if it's because Gurley was just the knee thing was true. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think they would have cut him if. Like I do think there's some truth to the knee thing, but I guess we will find out.
What is interesting now is that the Rams need a running back, They drafted Darrell Henderson last year. He averaged like 3.6 yards a carry, 3.7 yards a carry. He wasn't very good. He didn't look like the explosive running back we saw in the preseason or in practices. So they could be in the market for a running back in a class that has a lot of really good running backs.
Could.
So
yeah, I don't think they would sign like Melvin Gordon, but
no,
because they're getting rid of the money from Gurley, so they don't want to spend a lot at that position.
Right.
But yeah, drafting wise, they could look at a running back. If I was the Rams, though, I would just run it with Henderson for at least a year.
Right.
And see what you have.
Okay. Let's get to some trade news and some free agent news. Most of the free agent news is stuff we just didn't talk about last week. On Tuesday. So the Bears acquired quarterback Nick Foles from the Jaguars. So, MINSHEW Mania, baby.
Yep.
Let's go.
Minshew's officially the starter.
You know who the number two quarterback in all of football in rushing yards was?
Was it Minshew? No way. It wasn't Minshew, was it?
Think so.
No way. Are you serious?
Hold on a second.
You might
be third. It might be
that.
third. Might be third.
It wasn't like Deshaun Watson or like Kyler Murray.
Kyler was second. I know that. I think we're saying third. Anyway, I'm not going to confirm it. I'm going to say third and just hope that it's
okay.
right. You can roast me in the comments on YouTube. So, MINSHEW Mania is official. Do you like him as an option next year to be a possible top 5 like quarterback that you can draft late for next year? Or
sure, I mean, it's he possible, but I don't know if I would draft him per se. I don't think he's going to get drafted.
Not even in the 14th, 15th round?
I mean, sure, maybe, but I really don't think he's going to get drafted, so I don't think there's like a point to it. Like, I think he's going to be one of those quarterbacks that maybe he starts the year off the waiver wire, and if he does break out, I mean, you better have your eye on him early and pick him up early. But then there's also a chance that he won't do that at all, and he'll finish like the QB 26.
He's got, in terms of MINSHEW Mania, people they like the mustache, they like the hillbilly, they like all that stuff. But he doesn't have, like Kyler in Arizona, second-year quarterback, right? He's got all of this hype surrounding him. He got DeAndre Hopkins. He's got the running back that he wants in Kenyon Drake, right? He's still got Larry Fitz. He's got Christian Kirk. The offense is poised to do a lot of great things, right? And you're nervous because I'm a little less nervous, but you're more nervous than I am about the fact that, last year you saw Baker Mayfield had all the talent, he had all the people, and it completely busted on him. And that could be Kyler Murray this year. Get drafted in the 5th round, get overhyped, and then end up being a top 6, 7 quarterback. You know what I mean? Same spot as last year, and you kind of wasted a draft pick on a 5th round quarterback. He gets overhyped to the point where he gets overdrafted. Right. Whereas Gardner Minshew, he's got some decent players around him. His offensive line doesn't completely suck, and his running back's good. And so there's an opportunity there that he could actually start to excel as a quarterback, but it's going to depend on some of the moves they make in the offseason. If they add anything, it doesn't look like they're going to. But I see him as a possible opportunity. I see him have a possible opportunity to jump out and surprise a lot of people next year. It's always the guys you don't expect. Last year,
that's why I said keep him on your wire. Keep him in your head.
I'm going to be bullish on Minshew.
Yeah, I just don't think he'll even be drafted, so that's why I'm just saying don't draft him, because I think he'll be available.
I think so.
If he does have a good week.
Do you think the ridiculous hype surrounding him, in terms of
is there ridiculous hype around him?
Not hype, not logical hype,
fantasy wise,
not logical hype or fantasy hype. I'm talking about just people know who he is. And they're like, "Oh, I love Minshew," and then you go on draft night, and it looks really funny to pick up Minshew's name and slap him on the draft board in the 14th round.
Oh, I'm sure that will happen.
Yes, so that's why I'm saying, if you're gonna get him and you believe in him, you're gonna have to draft him. You can't wait for waiver wires unless there's 15 guys ahead of him and he's just ADPing out of the draft. Then people won't draft him.
Yeah.
So anyway, the other side of it, Nicky Foles goes to the Bears.
Yuck.
So that is a yuck situation. Nick Foles is never a fantasy option for me at quarterback. Who starts? That's the question that I want to ask.
I don't think anybody knows right now. I mean, they're going to have that quarterback competition, and then I think, to be honest, I think it will end up being Foles.
Yeah,
I don't know
too.
who it's going to be, but it could end up still being Mitch Trubisky. We'll see.
You know what it is? It's a cluster frick. That's what it is.
It is.
It's
garbage versus garbage.
Yeah, it's true. Another trade that came down, Jeff Howe reported that the Rams want to trade. Actually, not another trade. I'm sorry, rumors of a trade. Forgive me. Jeff Howe reported that the Rams want to trade wide receiver Brandon Cooks.
He gets traded every year.
Yeah, he really does.
At least it feels like it.
He's been traded for a first-round pick twice. So we'll see if he gets traded for a first-round pick again. Probably not.
I don't think any team's going to give him a first or second-round pick.
Considering what Nook just went for. So we'll have to see where Brandon Cooks goes. It does. The reason why I bring it up is because it sounds like it's inevitable that the Rams are going to move on from him. So that boosts up Josh Reynolds. I don't expect Reynolds to do things like Brandon Cooks, but this does boost Cooper Kupp, who is already a top 5 wide receiver this year. It
definitely helps.
Cooper Kupp and Brandon Cooks move up my board a little bit with this. With this.
You mean Robert Woods?
Robert Woods. I'm sorry, I said Brandon Cooks, didn't I?
Yes. So I would love to see Cooks on the Jets. By the way.
You've just been waiting.
Sam Darnold needs some help, please.
You've been waiting.
I'm getting aggravated.
He's getting frustrated. It's a good wide receiver class. They say that every year. All right, let's talk about some free agent signings. Bridgewater signed a 3-year, $60 million contract with the Panthers. He's a more mature, less stupid version of Cam Newton.
But without the athletic ability.
Yeah. So, I think
I don't know.
Like he can get around, but he's not.
It's not. Yeah. He's not as mobile
compared to most.
I don't mind this. It's not a bad fit, and I think it's like he'll get the ball to DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel, but it's nothing. I don't think it's anything that's gonna like move the needle for the Panthers. Do you?
No, I don't think it changes anything. I think he's a good quarterback. I think they win more games, but I don't think it moves the needle.
Like in that division, I think they're probably the third best team still.
It does, like you said, it excites me for the prospects of DJ Moore, though.
Yes, yeah.
Because last year, DJ Moore was good with terrible quarterback play.
He had a run, too, at the end there. He had like 6 or 7 straight weeks where he got 12 or more fantasy points.
Now, we were a little bit nervous about the possibility of Cam Newton coming back and destroying Cam Newton's life, but they signed Teddy Bridgewater. And so now you look at DJ Moore as a possible breakout candidate next year. I'm actually really excited about DJ Moore,
and we said that last year too.
I think he's a post type guy, though. I think he's a guy that you can get after he had a full season and he played well, but he didn't shine like Chris Godwin, right? He was drafted in the 4th, 5th, 6th round on average. And people got him, and it just blew up. You know what I mean? Like now he's going to get drafted in the first 2 rounds automatic.
You think like
DJ Moore had a quieter season? Yeah. He can become that 5th or 6th round pick like he was last year. Get him at that same value, but he can have that. Michael Thomas's streak of 20-point fantasy point games in half PPR started with Teddy Bridgewater. So Bridgewater can get it to a number 1 wide receiver. And DJ Moore is very similar to Michael Thomas in a way.
Play style wise, and Teddy Bridgewater I think has always favored a go-to outside receiver as well. Yeah, which is perfect for DJ Moore. So I think
probably kills a little bit of the Curtis Samuel hype. I would think.
Maybe a little bit.
He's still a valuable wide receiver. He's just not as.
Yeah.
The breakout's not there. People love his route running.
Teddy Bridgewater throwing the ball wise, I think is still way better than anyone the Panthers had last year.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's a bad thing for Curtis Samuel. I just don't
Right.
think he's going to get the same hype as DJ Moore.
Right. We have two more pieces of news to get to. We're going to talk about, first, the Dolphins agreeing to terms with Jordan Howard.
I forgot about this.
Yeah. What? Jordan Howard, you know what he's going to do this year? And they're still interested in other running backs, by the way. They're going to draft a running back like Miles Sanders. Jordan Howard's going to get the ball for half the season again. And then they're going to realize, holy crap.
The exact same thing is going to happen, and then he's going to get cut.
Yes. So this is great news that he moved on from the Eagles. The Eagles are moving forward with Miles Sanders. So Miles Sanders is for sure going to be the starting running back next year, and I love it.
Yeah.
So he's going to be one of my overhyped guys this year. But Jordan Howard coming into Miami, it's a okay landing spot for him. Fantasy wise, a lot of people are going to look at him and go, "Wow, he had some great games when he wasn't hurt with the Eagles. He might be good." The Eagles had the best running offense, one of the best offensive lines in football. So I don't see that in Miami.
No.
So I think Jordan Howard is just destined to be nothing in Miami.
Yeah, he might get. I think. First of all, I think they're going to get another running back, which I don't think they should, but I think they will, which would eliminate Jordan Howard anyway. But even if they don't, I don't really see him doing too much. He might get a couple touchdowns here or there, but he's not. I don't think he would be like an RB1 or RB2.
Right.
Maybe a low end RB2, but
yeah, he's just a gross. If they end up bringing in a bigger guy, it does end up not looking very good for Jordan Howard. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Siri's looking up Jordan Howard numbers.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not super excited about the Jordan Howard news. I think it kills whatever. I honestly, at this point, there's so many running backs available because Devonta Freeman is still out there too. And
no, I forgot about Devonta Freeman.
There's like so many. We said the same thing last episode. Oh, we forgot about Devonta Freeman. But it's like you have Devonta Freeman, Todd Gurley, Melvin Gordon. I mean, these guys were all like top running backs 3 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then now they're like, they're released. They're in free agency. And it's like a lot of teams, and there's not a lot of landing spots for running backs. And you got these young running backs coming in. It's just like, what is the like the league is slowly shifting to this two running back situation where you don't have one workhorse running back. We've known this the last couple years that they're shifting to the RBBCs, but the more talented running backs that come into the league, the more likely that they are to to run into the RBBCs. So anyway, the Colts, they signed Phillip Rivers, formerly of the Chargers, to a 1-year, $25 million contract.
Another to me.
Yeah, a good spot for Phillip Rivers.
Sure, I mean, it's not bad. I really don't think he's better than Jacoby Brissett, but at this point in his career, like, how much better is he than Jacoby Brissett?
Right.
Like, I don't really think it's much.
Does this improve... excuse me. Does this improve Phillip... What's his name? T.Y. Hilton. My goodness, I'm trying not to choke on my water.
Correct? I don't watch the Colts very often.
Yes.
So, I really don't think it helps him that much because I don't think Phillip Rivers can get the ball down the field at all.
Yeah. I mean, when they were in when he was in Los Angeles, he couldn't get the ball down the field. The Mike Williams ball.
I mean, and like you watch.
Who the hell's their slot receiver?
Game, the Colts.
Yeah.
Who's the guy they just drafted?
Oh, I like it. Paris Campbell?
Yeah.
Oh, I like
Probably
it.
Him.
Okay.
I'll
get back to you on my feeling on Paris Campbell later in the offseason, boys.
I watched a lot of Chargers games last year, unfortunately. Yeah. And Phillip Rivers is not the same quarterback he once was. I mean, he looks
Right.
more and more like Eli Manning did at the end and Peyton Manning did at the end every game.
Yeah.
I get why the Colts did it. They want a quarterback. He's a big name. But I honestly don't think this is going to work out too well.
Okay.
I don't think he's any different than Brissett. I mean, he might be a little bit better just because of his experience on the field.
He is, the big thing is that he was very close last year to having a very good season, like 10 wins, 12 wins, and making the playoffs and having another run at it. And I think if you were looking at the Indianapolis Colts and the Los Angeles Chargers, you would kind of see their teams as very similar. Their defenses are good. They have some decent offensive weapons. Their offensive lines are decent. So he's basically going to the same situation with a different team. And so I think if the ball bounces the right way for him in multiple situations, they can win some football games, and maybe people would change their mind on Phillip Rivers a little bit. But I think the losing kind of changed everyone's mind. They were like, losing always has a way of showing your bad spots, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I think Rivers could have a decent season. Fantasy wise, he's cooked. He's done. But I'm curious to see the prospects of T.Y. Hilton in terms of, how effective he might be, how effective Paris Campbell might be. If they have the ability to move the ball down the field more, does this give Marlon Mack more opportunities to get the ball in the end zone? So there's a lot of good things that could happen. And the other thing is that they know who their quarterback is going into week 1. You know what I mean? Last year, week 3, week 4 of the preseason, Andrew Luck just up and retired. And they didn't know what they were going to do. They were like, holy crap, now we got to find a quarterback.
Yeah.
So they just went with Jacoby Brissett. And so I think you're going to see a little bit more offense. Like, they're going to build the offense a little bit more around Phillip Rivers, what he likes to do. And I think it'll have a positive impact on the players in fantasy terms.
You know what team I'm very surprised with that did not go after any of these quarterbacks?
Who?
The Steelers.
That's very true.
They would have.
That's one of the teams that I saw. They were interested in Jameis.
Oh, so that's interesting.
Because Big Ben's done, and I think he knows it. He's like, bring the next quarterback in. I'll train him. He's playing this year.
Run with Big Ben this year.
He's not going to
unless they get somebody.
That reminds me, I'm very excited about Juju. By the way.
Yeah.
He's certainly. We'll talk about Juju another time, but he's definitely way past post hype. You know what I mean? Like, he's burned by so many people that he could possibly be a very good wide receiver this year. Especially they know what he is now, and they know what their outside receivers are, Deontay Washington and stuff like that. So, Juju could have some success, but we'll have to see what happens. That is all the news that we have. I was gonna look up on Roto World. Who is some what am I trying to say?
I don't know.
Some extra news that we didn't get to, but I don't think you want to hear about Jerick McKinnon's restructured contract. So.
Oh no, I don't really give a crap.
He'll be an 8th round pick again. So there that is.
I know Colt McCoy signed with the Giants.
Colt McCoy
to be Daniel Jones's backup.
That's disgusting. That's absolutely disgusting. Yeah. That'll do it for this episode of the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and we will for sure talk to you on Tuesday, Fantasy Champs. Stay alive, stay healthy.
Peace out.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube, and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.